Hello and welcome. This is Michele Christensen of OneNote Worthy Life, and this is a Plan With Me video for March of 2020. I'm using OneNote for Windows 10, and I'm going to walk you through how I reflect and evaluate on the past month and set goals for the upcoming month. I'm using OneNote for Windows 10, so if your screen or anything about the way OneNote works looks a little different, it might be because you're using a different version. Let's get to it. I've already done this process, and I do it ahead of time so that I can give you a very concise overview and so that I can take my time really thinking and setting new goals and things like that. Also, these pages, there's not really much to show. They're mainly just text and lists, so there's not really much to show in the way of OneNote tutorials. So I start by evaluating my goals from the past month. And so this page here is for OneNote Worthy Life, which is my YouTube channel and business and blog. So the first goal I have is to stick to my editorial calendar. And I've had this goal for several months, and I've been working on creating that calendar and getting better and better at hitting each mark on it, each benchmark. It's actually a lot more challenging than I thought because there's a lot that goes into a YouTube video beforehand and afterwards. And a lot of these steps have unknown durations. Like, you just don't know how long it's going to take sometimes. So it's been hard to hit each of those, kind of benchmarks I set for myself. And I don't only publish on YouTube. I run 2 Facebook communities, and I have an email list and that kind of thing. So I didn't expect to have this goal again this month, but I felt like I need to just keep working on it. I'm just not as good at it as I want to be. And I feel like this is a foundational skill for the direction I want to take my channel and my, brand in. So one of the things that was really helpful about having this goal sort of front and center, top, it's the #1 goal, is that it has helped to guide all the small decisions I make every day and even each hour throughout the day. Probably like you, I have loads of ideas, tons of projects I want to do, and new things coming in all the time. And there's ways I want to expand my channel and my blog and my internet presence and stuff. But when those ideas come in, I can weigh them against this thing that I've established is important and decide if I want to take that new thing on or not. So it gives me a lot of peace of mind because I can put that new thing on the back burner and know that I'm working on the thing that is most important because I've thought about that and decided that already. So the second goal I had for February was to work on getting my next guest book for my monthly live video series, which is called the Take Note Chat. I'm resuming this after a few months of hiatus due to some tech issues. YouTube changed the way live streaming works, so I had to find a workaround for that. I was hoping to have my next guest booked in March, but I've been talking to 5 different people, all of whom will likely appear at some point, but none of them have been firmly scheduled yet. So I feel good about this in that I've done as much as I could have, but I didn't actually get the person booked, so I'm going to continue to work on this. So this leads me to a little reminder that I do regularly look for guests for the Take Note Chat. There'll be a link in the video description to the Take Note Chat playlist, and there will also be a link to a page for people that are interested in being a speaker. So if you use OneNote in a really interesting way, or you have a interesting kind of setup in your life that you use it for, or you want to talk about a specific situation, go to that speaker page. It has all the information you need to get started with being a guest on the show if we decide that works out for us. So that's it for my professional goals. I've been keeping things really simple and focusing on very few things over the last few months, and it's been really helpful to me in terms of having peace of mind, feeling more focused, and actually getting more done. With fewer goals, I spend less time kind of keeping all the balls in the air and less time managing all the different projects and switching in between them, and more time doing things. And I've also been trying to just regularly remind myself and to remember that I can sequence or serialize my goals and do one after the other rather than trying to do everything all at once. So let's move on to personal goals. So each month, my first goal has to do with how many calories I'm going to undereat by each day. So I currently weigh a little bit more than I would like, a little bit more than is healthy, and I'm trying to undereat by a little bit each day to drop some of that weight. And that's why I start with the calorie goal, because I feel like health is sort of the foundational thing in life. Like everything that you can possibly have or want or get done revolves around health. So that's why this is front and center for me. I did not quite hit my February goal, but I had a few days of really bad allergies and some other things come up. So I feel like I know why I didn't hit it, and barring those things, I would have. So I'm going to up this again for March. And just in case, if you do know anything about calorie math, I should be dropping weight at this level, and I'm really not. So I think that my counter that I'm using is overcounting my activity. So we'll just keep increasing it until the weight starts coming off slow and steady. So the next personal goal has to do with Be Ready, which was my theme for 2019 and now for 2020 and probably beyond. I have a link in the video description to a playlist where I show what that means for me and how I plan to achieve it. But I've identified a whole bunch of small things I can do, and actually some of them aren't small, but a lot of things I can do to kind of live my life in a state of feeling more ready for whatever comes up, whether it's an opportunity or a challenge. Like I want to just feel more ready to take advantage of things. So from December to February, my focus has been to do all of my daily habits pretty regularly, and it's starting to get easier, and I'm feeling more on top of things. Like the cumulative results are starting to show up. I want to continue this goal for March or until I'm feeling like really just caught up and ready on that particular front. These are the small habits that make life feel orderly. So things like tidying the house every day, going through the mail, all those kinds of things. So the next personal goal has to do with a sewer project. And if you haven't heard me talk about this, there'll be nothing gross in this video, I promise. We just need to have a repair made actually in the street where our line joins the city's line, and it's been very tricky because it's kind of a gray area about who owns what and who has to do what. So we reached a major milestone in February in terms of the paperwork we need to file, which is great. And that paperwork deadline got us to a logical pausing point, which is also good because I'm going to be taking on something new in March and then coming back to this later. So the next personal goal has to do with a security system. Back in December, my husband and I started installing security updates to our house. And if you haven't heard me talk about this, we do a lot of DIY stuff on our home. So this is one of our current projects, and we made a big leap forward on this and have our next steps planned. And then the final goal was for my dogs. We have the local dog registration is due at the end of March, so I like to make sure I'm all ready. I've got all my paperwork and everything ready to get that done on time. And I'm good on that. Did that for February. So the next page is a page that I call What Else? And this is just a freeform section where I can record anything that happened that was unexpected, good, bad, or indifferent. Anything that kind of affected how my month unfolded. So in February, I tried something new, which is called calendar blocking by Amy Landino. She's a YouTube creator and podcaster who I really like her content. It's all about, like, as she says, going after the life you love. And I will link to her video explaining calendar blocking in the description of this video. But what it is a way of putting your next few priority tasks on your calendar rather than working off of a to-do list. So you schedule the time to work on it, and then you honor that time slot the same way you would as if it were an appointment with someone else. And so this has been a big change for me because for a long time I've been following more like GTD or getting things done principles, which kind of say the opposite of that nothing goes on your calendar except actual appointments that have a set time on them and things that have to be done that day. So I'm going to do a future video on how that's working out because it has really been an interesting experiment, but I started that in February. The other thing I want to do is to rethink those daily habits. I've been really enjoying and reaping the benefits of doing them every day, but I do feel like they take a lot of time to do every day. So I don't know if I want to shrink what I do every day or maybe make it, fewer than every day, like, certain days out of the week or something like that. So now I want to show you my February annual plan. This is what I thought I would be doing in February when I set up my year in January. And I have been keeping things really light, and that's worked out just so great for me. I just had a wedding anniversary. No, or sorry, an anniversary with my husband, and then it was just the dogs, getting them all situated to get their license renewed. And then finally, I just want to show you my February calendar. And as you can see, I don't use this to keep appointments or anything like that. I write down one good thing that happened each day. And I really enjoy doing this. I really get like just a, it uplifts me to look at this at the end of the month and see, the handwriting, the stickers, all that stuff. And I find that more so than any sort of gratitude journal I've ever tried, that this actually changes the way I think, because each day I find something good that happened. And even if it's a bad day, I can always find something good. So to me, this is sort of tangible proof that good things happen to me every day. So now it's time to set up March. So I'm going to start by looking at my March annual plan, and this is what I thought I would be working on in March when I set up my year. And all I have scheduled for March is the dog license. So that's good, because I added a big one to my a big personal goal in for March. So these are my goals for March for One Noteworthy Life. My goals are similar to last month. I want to continue to follow that editorial calendar. And then I also want to do some work on my Take Note chat. So I have to update the speaker page, and I want to make a plan for how I'm going to reach out and follow up with people. And so I think the difference for this month is that I got a little bit more detailed with how I'm going to get those next few speakers booked. So yeah, I feel excited to have like concrete action steps that I can take. So on to March personal goals. So again, first thing was that my calorie goal, I'm going to up that a little bit. My Be Ready focus is the same. I'm going to keep trying to do all those daily habits. The security system, I'm filming this a few days into March, so we already had a big victory with that. We got a kind of a section of it fully completed, including the finish work, which is great. A lot of times we're operating under such, we have like so many different things going on that we don't end up doing the finishing work, and it leaves it for later. So I'm really glad that this even has the finishing work done. So I have the dog license, as I mentioned. So this next one is a really big deal. We are going to get air conditioning installed in our house. So this is something we've had on the back burner for quite a few years, and my husband decided that he wanted to move it up and get it done before summer and was ready to take the lead on this. And this was a moment where I was so grateful for all the work I've been doing to feel more ready in life, because we were able to move this up in the priority and take advantage of the fact that he was able to put some time into it right now. And we've also, it also takes advantage of the fact that we reached a point in that sewer project where we can pause it and come back to it later. So yeah, that was just a really nice feeling to be able to pivot like that, because I don't know that I would have been able to do that at prior points in my life, and I don't know that I would have felt as comfortable doing it without having been working toward this goal of being more ready in my life. And by the way, we are managing that air conditioning project and the sewer project with shared OneNote notebooks. Let me know if you want to see a video on that, because they are really useful, using a shared notebook on a project that you're sharing with a family member, spouse, coworker, whatever. And then finally, I have to add in a March calendar, and I already filled in a day there. And so that's it. I am now all set up for March. And as always, I want to take this time to encourage you to start your own planning and review process. It doesn't have to look like mine. It doesn't have to be elaborate, or it doesn't have to take a long time. You might just want to start with one habit and see if you can set a goal for that, and then track how well you do and evaluate that. Or maybe try getting started on a project that you've been putting off. I have learned so much in the last few years I've been doing this, and I continue to learn how I work best and things that I can do to optimize my workload and have less stress in my life. So if you have any questions or comments or something you want to see in more detail, leave a comment on this video and I'll do my best to get back to you. If you want to see more videos like this on things like personal goals and life management, productivity goal setting, as well as OneNote tutorials, which are among my favorite things to do, please do subscribe by hitting the subscribe button, and let me know you like this by hitting the thumbs up button. Thanks for watching and have a great day. Bye-bye.